How you doing, everyone? Welcome to your Draftstars wrap-up show for round 21. It's a pretty fun week, actually, and it's kicked off with a nice 20,000 guarantee in the Roosters v Broncos matchup, and it was very well dominated by the Roosters here, and they were the type of players you were looking to have in your squad, especially in the outside backs and also through the halves. So my selections, my thoughts, I said, one of Teddy or Manu would have been great if you could fit them in. And Teddy was the man this week. Manu didn't score as well. He was solid, but didn't live up to his price tag. And that's very much similar to what happened with Payne Haas. Only the 50 for him. So that's the guy I went with rather than going for Tedesco. And that was a 30-point miss, unfortunately, there. And obviously, if the person that won this league was having Matt Lodge there with 47, which pretty much got what Payne Haas got at a much cheaper price. So that was that one there. And I spent a little bit of money on someone like Victor Radley as well, and Sam Verrills, which didn't work out. So Verrills had his lowest one in a long time. I spoke about Sammy Walker as being a solid pickup, a very similar line to Verrills, and Sammy got 20 points more. Tessie New had his lowest game in a while, so I said he was a solid one, so that didn't work out. Momorowski was a solid cheapie, along with Swali'i as well, and then some decent games out of Capewell was the way to go. But Butcher was a very much close to a must-have, and he delivered, which most people selected him. But that was that one. Didn't go so well for me. Just wasn't able to pick Tedesco in that one. But we went to the Friday night games, and the Titans v Storm, I didn't go incredibly well, just for the main factor that we didn't have Cammy Munster in our squad, and decided to go with Jerome Hughes at that cheaper price instead, not knowing exactly how Cammy Munster was going to go. And he obviously came out and absolutely dominated with 101. So well done to him. He's always a solid pick, but didn't expect that one exactly. Guys like Kamakamika didn't go so well. Asafa Solomona was okay. Aaron Clark had his lowest in a while. Picking up Cooper Johns and mentioning him as a solid one at that cheap 9k price worked out well. And then guys like Seve and Nofaluma only went okay. But just overall, not ideal when you have Hughesy there, who only plays the first half, gets injured way before the first half, and you had guys like Bromwich and Brandon Smith that came out and did really well. So he said Smithy was potentially a solid one, and he did a great job there. Young Ton Mapea was a little bit outside the box, but generally that game there, Storm v Titans, was a interesting game to watch. Seagulls v Eels went a lot better in my squad. Came in the top 20% on that one there, and picks that went well. Penasini, Sullivan, DCE average. We spoke about Dylan Brown being someone that was very much likely to step up, and he did that, so I went for DCE instead. Could have spent the money a little bit elsewhere, but that's okay. Sean Lane and Davey were two guys I said were very close to must-haves, and they worked out well. Sipley ended up moving to the bench, but still a decent score for him, and Jake Arthur, the 49. So really, my biggest miss in this one was Dylan Brown over DCE, and Kohler there, who happened to not have a great game. Obviously went off for about 15 minutes there, but wasn't one of his best games at all, unfortunately, and going for Gutho with a little bit extra cash was the better way to play it. And then Opacek and Trbojevic both had solid ones as well, which Opacek, that's a big up from him. It is what it is on that one. So well done to anyone who went really well in that game. The selections were pretty solid in that one. The Raiders v Panthers was an interesting one. Definitely thought it was going to be a little bit closer than what it ended up being. And in terms of guys that we wanted to select, in terms of big players, we didn't have anyone that really killed it. O'Sullivan had an average game and got 49. Again, missed out on having Dylan Edwards. I went for a little bit cheaper and went for a few more Raiders guys, and I spent the money on Tarpanay, and that didn't obviously work out. Chris Smith had a real low game for someone who ended up starting, which was a bit annoying. But you see the team that won this ended up having Tomoko as well, like I did, who'd been averaging in the mid to high 30s, and that was not the way to go, unfortunately, with these guys. Leota a little bit down on what he'd been scoring as well. So just all the guys a little bit down on their averages, and not one stand out at all with that high score in the game being 49.69, missing out on Elliott's, the Papali'is, for example, and Edwards and Whiten scored the same as O'Sullivan there. At a pretty similar price, to be fair. All right, we move to the next couple of games, which I played much better myself. Sharks v Dragons. Very well in the top 10% on that one, which was good. But in terms of my selections, Kate Dykes played solid, but didn't end up getting the great fantasy scores. I said Hines was a must-have. Guys like McInnes, he only went okay in the 53 minutes for him wasn't enough, unfortunately. Wade Graham is a solid cheap guy. He did great. And then you had guys like Tolman and Maguire who probably scored a little bit lower than what they should have. Just based on their averages, for example, and being able to pick up Ben Hunt and Hines would have been the way to go. Nakora had a great game as well. But the outside backs, there wasn't really anyone that stepped up at all in this game. Even guys like Talakai, Ramian all had mid-20 scores anyway. So yeah, Hines is the way to go. Wade Graham, if you had those two, along with a Ben Hunt, for example, that would have worked out well, or a Nakora. So that's that one there. Move on to the next one, the Bulldogs versus Cowboys. So in this one was the mixture of guys like Val Holmes and Drinkwater that were going to do really well. Unfortunately, almost left out Holmes just for money reasons and ended up having a fair bit left in the tank and went for him instead of going for Matty Burton in the end. So I went for Dearden, got a 42, but that was just okay. You know, Burnsy, Holmesy, if I went Drinkwater ahead of him, that would have really helped and got me closer to that win. Maxi King not as good as previous games. Changed for Tyler Mariner and Torpenny as well. Both didn't score that great, to be honest with you. Had Drinkwater in there, which was nice, but overall it was not a really high scoring game. Avoiding guys like Tamalolo, Nanai was the best way to go about it. And really wasn't anyone that absolutely killed it. Cotter had a solid one off the bench. Lucy Leilua would have been ideal, who I did have in my team for a bit there. And when Fatale Mariner came back, I moved him in and brought Holmes back in, moved out Burton. There was a few things that ended up happening there. We see even the team that won this didn't even have Matty Burton in that one. So with Burton getting a pretty big score there. Where is he? No one even had him, Crazy. Where is he? Yeah, 64. So he had a solid score. Flanagan had a good one as well. So that's that game there. And then I'm just making this one after that final game. And not so great for myself. Tigers v Knights, considering I thought Tigers should be able to come out and do pretty solidly. I went to have Kapoa in the team, ended up going for Stafford Toa, so that worked out poorly with Kapoa end up scoring a try and picking up a nice score there. Adam Dewey was solid with 59, so we had him as a must-have. He did well without being crazy. Brody Jones, Seyfarth had one of his lowest scores. Madden was solid at his cheap price. Brody Jones for Noah Paulette was great as well, even in really limited minutes. He only played 24 minutes, which was crazy. So great first stint and then didn't get back on. Tuolangi is the one again, so he's getting more and more expensive, and he came out and killed it. And Gagai, for the first time in a long time, came out and absolutely smashed it. So good on him. Brayley had a solid score as well. But in terms of my selections, we had Dewey as close to a must-have. He was solid without going nuts, just for the main factor that they didn't end up winning the game. So didn't work out too well for him. But the rest of the guys were solid except for Toa instead of Kapoa. But that is that video, guys. That's that wrap up. We have 4 more rounds of the main Draftstars section here in the NRL season, and then we will be playing in the finals as well. So make sure you're here for all of that. I hope you enjoyed that video, got a bit out of it, and hopefully one of your teams was out there did really well. And this one's updating as we go. So there you go. Hope you did well in the main one there, and we'll catch you in another video, guys. See you later.